That's right, never mind who you thought it was. This is the Buffalluminati Podcast, your keeper of Buffalo's secrets. Happy 4th, happy Canada Day to those that celebrate. We got a great episode for you today, but first make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure to follow us on all social media at Buffalluminati, except for Twitter. We don't do that. I'm your host, Jake. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Jeff. How you doing today, bud?
Hey, you know how it goes, brother. When you dress like a pimp, everybody's a hoe.
Really? Okay. No, that's staying in. That's staying in. We're keeping that.
Okay.
Jesus.
Do we redo it?
If you're gonna serve wings or ranch, I don't want to do business with you. I get up and leave, even if I don't get the wings. It's either blue cheese or wings. Go for wings.
That's right, never mind who you thought it was. This is the Buffalluminati Podcast, your keeper of Buffalo's secrets. As always, we got a great episode for you today, but first, make sure you like and subscribe. Follow us on all social media except for Twitter, at Buffalluminati. And happy 4th, happy Canada Day, happy July, happy summer, happy Jeff, my co-host. How are we doing tonight?
Doing great, brother. Hats made in the USA. Shout out 4th of July.
Go Bills.
You know, I'm always happy to watch one of my favorite dudes right here and get it in some funky business.
Absolutely. Obviously, one of our favorites, Rick James. We're going to be watching a little bit of him today for a nice short one since it is a holiday week. You know, we don't need to be doing all this work. They don't need to be doing all this work watching us. So this is just a quick clip of Rick James. I don't actually know when this aired, but it is Rick James on Judge Joe Brown. And, you know, I know we've both seen clips of it on Reels, and so I had to go find the full thing just so we could see and appreciate Rick James off the stage and just being Rick James. So, you ready to dive into it?
Absolutely.
All right.
Never got the equipment back. Jerome claims the guitar and effects box were stolen from his car. Now here's Judge Joe Brown.
Everyone rise. This court is
This is
now
the best
in
video I
session.
could find.
The Honorable Judge Joe Brown presiding. Please be seated.
Presiding.
Court to order. Your Honor, this is the matter of James
Brings
versus
me back to
Turner,
sick
case
days
number
from school.
335.
Thank you, Ms. Holly.
Welcome.
Mr. James,
I didn't
you
catch
sued
this one.
Mr. Turner, you've
No, me
alleged
neither.
that he borrowed one of your guitars and some other assorted equipment and that it was stolen and he has not compensated you for the loss. Is that correct, sir?
Exactly.
Is that right, sir?
This is true, Your Honor.
All right. Tell me about it, Mr. James.
Well, I've been knowing Mr. Turner since around 1985. You know, he's a fellow musician like myself, and he used to hang around the studio, and so we became friends. And you know, I show him guitar chords, and you know, help him out, and he, you know, make errands for the group. You know, he wanted to be around music, and I kind of took him in, almost like, you know, like a son. And showing him around the studio.
Was like
and
a
so
son.
when I was recording albums, he'd be
did that
around.
to
He had
everybody.
his own little group and stuff. So we continued this relationship for a while, and he got his own band. You know, he had a couple bands. And,
I will say that suit
you know,
that
he
Rick
was
James
trying
got
to
on
make it,
is
doing demos and recording sessions.
when you're dressed like a
Well,
pimp.
about 6 or 7 months ago, he had come into town, and his equipment, his guitars, and his amp
That thing is like,
had not arrived, or something happened.
I don't even know. Is it Armani?
Shiny and pinstripe. It might
He asked
be.
me could, well, he needed a guitar.
That's what I was going
Is
to say.
that
Is that
suede?
leather and pencil?
So I lent him
Oh,
my,
maybe, yeah.
I bought a guitar. I have a bunch of guitars. This
I don't
particular
think it's
guitar was,
leather.
you know,
It could
and
be,
he
though.
He had seen it before. He had kind of liked it. And a Kurzweiler amp, which is a box that contains a lot of effects and stuff, which I have the receipts if I could present them to you. It was like $3,800 for the Kurzweiler, and the guitar cost me a little over $1,700. I have the receipts right there.
The fact that he has the receipts on that equipment is fascinating.
No, I haven't, but I will take Mr. James.
I don't have a single receipt for any of my guitars, and that's scary.
Anyway.
This man partied from Buffalo to Hollywood. He still has the receipts.
He was in
I know. I don't understand. Damn, the receipt. That looks like an official invoice. That's.
Right.
And he had called some other musicians, and they weren't around. So he called me up. I said, sure, here, I'll let you use the curse wire.
Just print it on.
Because, I'm all about helping musicians. If you're a friend of mine, I think you're a friend of mine, I'll give you the world. He told me that he had taken the guitar and the amp and put it in his car.
Joe looks like he ain't buying any of it.
Taking the guitar and taking the amp.
The guy's agreed so far. He keeps agreeing with what James is saying.
To him for the loss.
Yeah, I told him. I didn't really get into detail how much things were worth because money is really not the objective with him. It was friendship. This stuff, it costs a little money, man. I'm building my life and my career back together. Pay me. I said, whatever's conducive for you, So I said, $200 or $300. So we worked out a thing. And he ended up paying me. He gave me a couple of payments. I think one time he paid me $200. Sent me a payment another month of $300. And the payment stopped. It was nothing.
Yeah, but why? 500?
Wait a minute. Yeah, but we'll get into why. Hello, just hold on for. I'm sorry.
$500 you got.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
All right.
He's gonna get into.
Let me take my time.
That this is my time to talk. I'll just finish telling you. Then we got together at a club Billboard on Sunset, a bunch of us, and people were drinking a little bit, and no slight on my friend JT or my used to be friend, but he's there's a little sugar in his tank, there's, a little he's a little sugar going on up in there.
Don't say that, Rick. Don't say that.
Don't say that.
Basically homosexual. Okay, I don't have a problem with that because I love him still. Okay. I'm not, I'm straight, but I don't have a problem with homosexuality. They're in my life. I love them. I embrace them. I don't have a problem with it.
Yep, respectful.
This particular night, he had a little bit too much to drink. And you did have a little bit too much to drink.
I will say, just as a member of the LGBTQ community, I don't think that we needed Rick to tell us that guy has a little sugar in his tank.
And I get this hand on my butt.
Well, it's relevant to
the hand is like there for a few, 40, 60 seconds,
As he said, 40 to 60 seconds.
On my butt. And I look around, and it's JT.
That's a hot minute.
Now, hello.
The lady behind him trying not to.
I like the lady in the shawl and the dude in the back that are both leaning in.
What, 40 seconds? How 40-second accident? Your hand squeezing your butt?
No, that's not what happened, man.
It was at least 40 or 50 seconds.
Right, at least 40 or 50 seconds.
Right.
Time.
2 hands full.
And so I went off on him. Okay. I got friends around and stuff, and I know he likes me, and I never thought it was that way, a sexual kind of thing.
And it's not.
I never thought it was.
Don't interrupt.
And I always try to explain to him, Super Freak was just a song I wrote. Okay? It was just a song.
Just a song.
It really didn't mean a whole lot of things.
So you got
just a song that made me some money.
You got Joe Brown cracking up.
But
it's
really
over.
We're not entitled hands on the butt. There were no men's hands on my butt. That's a no-no. And I tried to touch him, and I went off.
Understood.
Maybe I was a little loud, and maybe it was a little boisterous, and I embarrassed him. But after that, the hands continued off my butt. Then I left. I didn't see him no more. I didn't hear from him no more. And I haven't got any payments, and I would like to get paid for my loss of my guitar. And he could carry on his life. He don't ever have to speak to me in life. And it's a sad thing. And,
yeah, but see, you're taking all out of context, Rick, and you know you are. Now, what do you have to say about
taking this all out of context?
Yes.
All right. How?
What happened to it? It was stolen. That part is not the issue. Okay. He's saying that I stopped the payments. It's true, Rick or Mr. James, he did call me after we had to talk about.
You still call me Rick. It's all right.
Okay.
Just pay me.
Okay. He did call me.
You dress like a pimp.
After this incident.
Just pay me.
When you dress like a pimp.
Just pay me.
I'm not going to speak on that. I did not call him back.
That's the theme of today's episode.
Because I didn't see the point in calling you, Rick, knowing I'd probably get insulted. Not saying I'm not going to pay him. I'm not saying that, Your Honor. But I do think, Rick, that you was wrong. I thought you knew me better than that, but you really don't. You really don't.
You really don't.
I have had situations where I've had friends, I mean, alcohol, I'm sorry, but alcohol induces...
It had nothing to do with no alcohol. I'm sure Mr. James would have far
Get the
more
bailiff over here. He's
standards
about to get
episode
physical.
than just a pat on the
Rick
behind.
James about to get his butt touched again.
Disrespect.
JT, you can say what you want. You can say what you want all night long. But the bottom line was that he was out of line. I checked him about it, and I did check him, Your Honor. But I had a lot of love for this man. This man lost a serious guitar of mine.
That's not the issue.
Okay,
That's
and
not
that
what
is
you're
the issue
bringing up.
that I'm dealing with.
You bringing up a character reference.
Well, are you not gay? Hold on.
Well, see?
Whoa, hold on.
He's stepping on me.
Stepping on me. See?
Gentlemen, come on.
Get him up out of here. Get in there, bailiff. Tase him.
Over there.
I want him tased.
That's what he's complaining about. You got too close to him the first time. Now let's deal with the issue. We're talking.
Better leave Rick James alone.
Talking money now.
Damn.
Judge Joe Brown continues in a moment.
You hear what Judge Joe Brown said?
No, he said go back, Judge.
He goes, we're already here because you got too close to him the first time.
But we're not talking about looks. We're not talking about personal.
So clearly,
orientation.
And later
Judge
today,
Joe Brown might be a
Father
little
figured
biased
defendant, that's why he loaned him some
to the
equipment,
celebrity
but he says he's not
contingent
been
in
paid
this.
for that equipment, and it has not
Judge
been
Joe
But I mean,
Brown
if he didn't
is not-
pay, he didn't
The defendant
pay.
says
So
that's because it was
He
stolen.
just not right. He is admitting to
Not an
that.
unreasonable amount of money for the guitar, nor for the marching. Now, the point is,
We good.
when you had it in your custody and your care, then you were responsible for that. It got stolen. You owe the money. You agree to that, right?
Yes.
Now, why don't you two try to make up your differences, whatever it is? You professionals,
Yeah, but he's impossible.
I understand.
He's impossible.
I understand.
You know, he
but
took-
let's
he-
not
he
even
made-
go
The
there.
impossible
Let's not
Rick
even go there
James.
right now. We're talking money and a guitar and an
Okay.
amp. We need this
He's so
guitar
calm,
replaced.
too.
Maybe if you compensate Mr. James for the loss of the
Yeah, this might be the
instrument and
calmest you ever see Rick
amplifier,
James.
then
Like,
we
he's
get back
not-
to square one. Now, what we're claiming here
he's
is
not all amped up. He's not
I mean,
really
even
talking.
when he's on, even when he's on cocaine, he's, I don't know. He's always been intelligent, calm.
A further relationship.
Like, I don't know. He's always been the coolest dude in the room, really.
My money for what I
You
paid.
about to get
for
it.
my thing.
You about to get it.
I'm jealous.
All right, now, 4,600 is what this lawsuit is about. That's what you asked the court for.
See where you're looking at me? See where you're looking at me right now?
I see, but we're not talking about looks. We're not talking about person
See the way he's looking at me?
orientation and whatever. We're talking about guitar, amplifier, and money.
That's all I'm talking about.
All right. You have any dispute over the value, Mr.
No, I don't, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Turner, then you owe that. That's $4,600, Mr. James. That's what you asked for. That's what you get.
This court is
Bam.
in recess.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, I need you to step out and to your right, please.
You're going to get paid for the equipment. How do you
Here we
feel about
go.
that, first of all?
I feel good about that. I mean, that's all I ever wanted.
What about the friendship?
I mean, he's going to pay me for the guitar and stuff.
Oh, a handshake before I've even asked.
I've been on this, he's a great guitar player. He's a great guy, and I don't bear any malice, and I love him. And if I was homosexual, he'd be my wife.
It has nothing to do with it. It's all right.
It all worked out fair, and that's the main thing here.
And now
We just
we're
talk
on
about
to
how,
the next
with those sunglasses on, he looks like Morpheus.
He looks way cooler than Morpheus.
He would have made a better Morpheus. So yeah, I mean, short and sweet to the point. Not a whole lot to argue legally, I think, in that case.
No, but Rick James was obviously the star of the show there and stole the show. And that's my favorite thing about him. He's always just that, like unapologetically himself
Right.
in every situation.
You can still call me Rick. Just pay me. Like that's in the words of Rick James, that's cold-blooded.
Right. He said, that's all I'm talking about.
Yeah. Even though he's the only one that brought up the dude being gay. We're not here to talk about that. No, we're not. We're here to talk about money. That's all I'm here to talk about.
There's a little sugar in his tank.
He said, if I was homosexual, he would be my wife.
Yeah, so you could see the tension clearly seemed to leave as soon as the case was over and they went out there and were
Right.
joking around. And
Which I think
buddy-buddy.
is probably the case with most of those. Also, I'm not going to like Rick said, he's trying to rebuild his career, and getting on TV in any way possible would facilitate that. So they maybe already had the agreement that he was going to pay, but they're like, hey, let's go on Judge Joe Brown. We'll make a spectacle of it. I'll call you gay. And
Yeah. Don't do that, Rick. Don't say
I
that.
told you not to say that. That was like their one agreement for him to go on, and then he did it anyway.
You said you wouldn't say that, Rick.
Come on, Rick. Don't do that. Don't say that. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. I mean, that's like you said, some classic Rick James. It's his composure, that level of just coolness under the collar that he has. Even like he was just even back then, like he was just cool. Like
yeah, just one of those dudes. He's the coolest dude in every room he walked into. He didn't even have to try.
Right. Exactly. It came natural, and even here, like I said, you even had the people in the back leaning in closer to hear Rick's story. It's like, it's not like you can't hear him if you're just sitting back in your chair like this, but I want to hear what the man has to say.
Yeah. I always want to hear what he has to say. I wish he was here with us today to say more stuff.
That would be great to see what the resurgence would have been, or just to have the opportunity to know who he is and see him live. Like, he died before he was even on my radar, so.
Yeah, he
Except
did put out an album or two right at the end when he got that resurgence from Chappelle's show. Right before he passed, and like there was some good stuff on there. He still had it.
I also got to imagine, just looking at, if I were to judge the two, I would say that this is probably pre-Chappelle show, because nothing against Rick. He looked, and I also think that maybe he had some bad makeup, cheap Comedy Central, low budget makeup on for that, but he looks.
No, but he was big
unwell.
in that.
Yeah, he looks unwell in that, and here he looks at least like healthy.
Yeah.
So yeah, this has got to be probably early 2000s.
That might have even been before he went to prison.
Oh yeah, it could have been. But
maybe just after.
Yeah. I mean, wild stuff, and
yes, it usually is.
Yeah, whenever you're delving into Rick James.
The king of punk funk.
So yeah, that's our 4th of July spectacular. Short, sweet, and to the point. With one of our favorites, Buffalo's own Rick James. I don't know what else to say, man, except for happy 4th to all the people, and make sure you like and subscribe, and whatever you want to say now, I guess.
I mean, I second all that stuff. I mean, if we could just make this a Rick James channel and just watch Rick James and react to Rick James content all the time, I would definitely do that. It's one of my favorite things to cover, and I love it. Love Rick James. One of my favorite things about Buffalo. Yeah, and happy 4th of July and happy holidays to all the people.
Maybe we will do a second podcast that's just all Rick James all the time. But yeah, stay funky out there, you guys. Stay cool, and happy 4th.